Hello, this is Dr. Jeremy St. John. Today I'm looking at Chapter 4, Sensitivity Analysis, and we're going to look at the sensitivity report. This is Ragsdale's book, Spreadsheet Modeling and Decision Analysis, and we're looking at the Blue Ridge hot tubs problem that we've been looking at all this time. On page 21 is where where the problem starts, but we're looking at the sensitivity report for this problem, so that we have not done yet. Let me go to the Blue Ridge model that we've set up. This is it's set up and ready to go. I've got, if you notice, when I click on my objective function, I've got the sum product function in there up here in the formula bar. You can see it. And in yellow, there are my decision variables. The constraints are already in. In fact, we solved it earlier, and so everything's in there. D6 is the objective. It's a maximize problem. We're maximizing profit. Changing variable cells, those are the decision variables, and the constraints are entered in. 3 constraints plus I've got the make unconstrained variables non-negative checked, to make sure that solver knows that we cannot make negative hot tubs, So simplex LP is chosen, and I click solve. Let's see, 122 Aquaspa and 78 Hydrolux, a profit of 66,100. That's a solution we've had before. This time under reports, I want to choose sensitivity report. And when I click OK, it's going to create another worksheet with the sensitivity report. So let's click OK. And we're going to go to the sensitivity report. Up here at the top, these first 3 rows, it says Microsoft Excel sensitivity report. It identifies the worksheet and the report, and it's using the name of the workbook and the name of the worksheet. So the workbook is called blueridge.xlsx, Blue Ridge Model. That's the name of the worksheet. You can see it down there, Blue Ridge Model. The report was created 3/6/2016 at 3 a.m. So I should be in bed, but that's a different thing. Now, variable cells. Under cell, I've got B5 and C5. That's just a location where my decision variables are. And final value, 122 and 78, that's the final solution. That's what solver came up with as far as make 122 Aquaspa and 78 Hydrolux. And under name, number to make Aquaspa and number to make Hydrolux, those are just labels that solver pulled from near the decision variable. So number to make, let's see, number to make was the label on the left-hand side in cell A5, and Aquaspa was in cell B4. Hydrolux was in C4. So solver wasn't sure which label, the ones on the left of the decision variables or the ones above, and so solver just combined the two and put them in here and used them as labels under name. Now, sometimes, depending on how my model's set up, solver might choose a label that's wrong, or I might want a more detailed label or a more clear label, because this report is more for other managers, other decision makers, and for myself. So I might change that if I'm going to share it with other people to make it more clear. But actually, number to make Aquaspa and number to make Hydrolux, that's actually pretty good. So it worked out pretty good. But the point is, put your cursor in there and change it if you need to, because this is a report. We can change any bits of it. Reduced cost. This is the additional cost or profit associated with each additional unit that we might make, and 0 just means that we're at the max. We don't have any additional resources, so that's a reduced cost. Objective coefficient. This is the coefficient associated with the decision variable. So when we identified those to solver, and $350 is the profit associated with each Aquaspa, and 300 is the profit associated with each Hydrolux. So we've got Aquaspa on the first row, Hydrolux on the second, and if we had more decision variables, each one would be on a different row. Here's where it gets interesting, this allowable increase and allowable decrease. That refers specifically to the objective function. So 350, our first row, which is Aquaspa, An allowable increase of 100 means we can increase the objective coefficient by $100 in this case. So we can increase it up to $450, raise our price, and it will not change the final value, which is make 122 Aquaspa and make 78 Hydrolux. That won't change. Up to 450, an increase of 100. As soon as we go one over that, all bets are off. It's going to change. We can also decrease the profit, by up to $50 without the final value changing. So this is telling us how sensitive those objective coefficients, this specific objective coefficient of $350, how sensitive it is to change. So we know it's really not that sensitive. We can increase it by $100 and it won't change the final value. Of course, if we increase profit, the amount of profit we have will change, but the number of Aquaspa to make and the number of Hydrolux to make won't change, 122 and 78. Now the Hydrolux, it's more sensitive. You notice it says allowable increase of 50, so we can only go up to 50. Beyond that, the final value will change. So let's test this out a little bit. Let's increase the objective function. Right now it's 350. Let's go a little below 100 increase, and let's go a little above 100 increase, and let's see what happens. So let's go a little bit below 100. 350, according to that, we can go up to, let's say, 449, and we shouldn't have a problem, right? So we're really increasing the profit. Let's solve it. Solve. 122 and 78. 122 Aquaspa and 78 Hydrolux. Those are the values in the yellow. They did not change. But let's change it just a little bit more. Let's go to 451. A little bit above. Solve. Now it changed dramatically. At that point, it changed dramatically. Solver, at that point, it's a high enough profit that Solver decided, let's make only Aquaspa and 0 Hydrolux. So a dramatic change in the decision variables, dramatic change in the final solution, and that was just from going above it just a little bit. So the original was 350 and the allowable decrease was 50. So let's go to 301. So that's less than 50. We should be okay. Solve. And sure enough, even decreasing it from 350 to 301, the solution is still 122 and 78. But if I go a little bit below, so 299, it should change. I'm not sure how much, but let's see. Yep, it changed from to 80 Aquaspa and 120 Hydrolux. So the allowable increase and allowable decrease shows me how sensitive the objective coefficients are to change. And that's important. If I think, oh, you know, the pricing might have to change. It might have to go up. It might have to go down. Maybe I have to maybe the people who sell my product, the retailers, they might change it on me. Walmart certainly would do something like that. Or my costs might change all over the place. So this just lets me know how sensitive it is to change. So I know how much I can rely on this model, and if something's very sensitive to change, I need to know that. I need to know that that it could change dramatically, and how much I might have to run it and see.